It's a bird, it's a plane, it's actually both. Well, hello there, I'm Detroit. As I start today's sketch, let's get something out of the way. We are well over 1,000 subscribers now. It's been a while actually, but I haven't been able to really address it yet. The previous 2 videos I uploaded, I had finished before we reached this great milestone, so I could only mention it in passing. But yeah, 1,000! That's awesome! For the past month and a half, the speed at which my content has been shown by the YouTube algorithm has grown exponentially. The analytics were all over the place. From a comfy 1,500 views a month to more than double that, almost 4,000 per month. The subscriber number also grew, from below 30 subs per month to more than 90. So we went from 950 subs to 1,020 in just a couple weeks. Anyway, I'm planning a great video for that. If all goes well, it will be up next week. Remember how I drew 100 faces when we reached 100 subs? You get where this is going, right? I've been drawing faces for 3 hours straight already and I'm nowhere near finished. Anyway, let's talk about this drawing a bit, shall we? I present to you Parakeet plane, or rather Parakeet aircraft, because I'm not sure it qualifies as a plane. So the inspiration for this partially came from Gatewing3, whose work I saw on Twitter. They make great mechanical constructions and vehicles, mainly inspired by insect designs. So I kinda wanted to do the same to the best of my abilities. I didn't know what to draw and I couldn't use the same prompt I saw Gatewing3 use, of course. So I went to a random animal generator and I got a parakeet. That was a great idea. And of course I chose to make a plane based on a bird. Let's take a look at the mechanical parts of this plane and how it actually is supposed to work. The wings. You gotta have wings for the plane, that's the base. Like a bird, the wings are somewhat jointed. They rise from the body and then level out as they spread. They are larger near the main body and thinner on the outside. Because it's a war aircraft, there are machine guns on pivots near the tip of the wings. Now, I don't condone guns, but unless some government army steals my design, I'm pretty sure we're alright with this drawing. You may notice at various points in this drawing there are holes in the middle of the wings. That's partially to make the design more interesting, and partially because I wanted to put large rotors inside. It's like the Avatar aircraft and many more futuristic designs. They help with the lift of the aircraft, I guess. Now, near the end of the drawing, I hope you'll have forgotten about these horizontal rotors because I ended up not drawing them in the final version. Anyway, moving on, let's take a look at the neck. To keep the shape of a parakeet for this peculiar plane, the neck has to be angled with the face looking a bit down. So I decided to articulate the neck above the main body. The joint between the two I wasn't sure, and until the end it remained undecided. Right at the end of the inking I put flaps over it. I don't know, they help against air resistance. At the face of the bird is the cockpit, which is just a large curved glass panel with a seat inside. Let's say we're too far away to see the controls and everything. Below the cockpit you have the beak. I don't know what to say, it's a beak. Maybe you plug in the kerosene line through the beak? I'm honestly not sure. Moving on to the body of the bird, it's oblong shaped. On the bottom is a reactor, which is the main propulsion of the bird plane. On the side of the body there are 2 additional reactors oriented towards the back. Below them, still on the side, you have 2 rotating pivots for, you guessed it, more machine guns. Now that I'm finished with the design and the drawing overall, I realize there is nothing to land the bird, like feet or wheels. I probably should have put them there instead of machine guns, you know, since there are already feet on parakeets. I mean, I based the location of the machine gun on the bird talons, so I could have drawn talons easily. Anyway, now the most interesting part, I think. The tail. The tail of the parakeet plane is made of 5 independent parts. 5 panels that are free to rotate on 2 axes. You can see that the wings of the plane are fixed and there are no flaps to orient it. The tail is the main way to orient the parakeet. I think that's a cool design element. It's unlike how a normal plane works. And that is how the bird plane functions. Governments, hit me up if you want to buy the design for your own use. Actually don't, because war is bad and all that. Oh, and this is Mark 4, obviously, because I wanted to write a big 4 on it. I like the number 4, it looks nice. The design of the number 4 is well made, especially when you separate the vertical bit and the diagonal one. The angles, the lack of symmetry, the straight lines. I like the number 4. It's a bit like a 7, although not as good. This drawing was at the same time really easy to make and really hard. Designing something like a bird plane, especially without looking into the mechanical details too much, it's really easy. On the other hand, drawing curves in perspective is not my forte. So having an elliptical main body with rounded parts everywhere and still have the wings line up is really hard. All in all, it's a really fun prompt, and I had a good time. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. But yeah, the curves everywhere kinda messed with my head at first, and I had to redraw the sketch a few times, on and off camera. At some point, I even sketched the plane from above in the corner just to figure out how I could orient the wings. At the same time, I was trying to emulate the style of Gathering 3. The line art is so clean, but still organic, and that's really hard to do. Recently, I've done a lot of digital painting, and going back to line art was a bit more difficult than I thought. It's a muscle, and I've skipped line art week one too many times. Let's look at the coloring now. I'm basing the flats on your typical army green color. A light grey complements it, and a touch of brass yellow for the beak. That is the base color pattern. You'll see I shade the whole thing first, and right at the end I kinda feel bored by the colors, and since this is a parakeet, I added wild colors. It kinda goes against the camo/army aircraft type because yellow and orange panels are not very well camouflaged. But hey, for the design it looks better that way. For the shading itself, once again I am trying to emulate Gathering 3. From the base color I added a multiply layer that will make shadows around every panel. I'm not looking too much at the light direction because it doesn't really make sense, but it looks cool. Above the first shadow layer, I added another one, just slightly darker. And then the same thing with light layers, 2 of them. One light layer to emphasize the edges, mainly, and the second to add light right in the middle of the shadow and for specular highlights. To round it all up, let's add a cream color to the background, and that's it. My watermark in the corner, and I'm calling it a day. I hope you enjoyed this wacky prompt as much as I did. Subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. I'll be seeing you soon. Bye!